Korea's current account surplus contracted in March due to a widened deficit in its services balance. This comes on the back of a sharp decline in Chinese tourists as well as a rise in the number of Koreans traveling overseas. Kim Min-ji looks beyond the numbers.
Korea's current account surplus narrowed in March. The Bank of Korea says the country logged a surplus of over $5.9 billion, extending the surplus streak for 61 straight months. However, the March figure is down from over $10.5 billion posted in the same month last year. The central bank attributed the contraction to an expansion in Korea's services balance deficit, which came to nearly $3.3 billion in March, 3 times larger than the figure a year earlier. This was due mainly to a decline in Chinese tourists, as well as a rise in Koreans taking overseas trips. The number of Chinese tourists tumbled over 40% on-year in March, after Beijing banned the sale of tour packages to Korea in an apparent retaliation against Seoul's deployment of a U.S. missile defense system. The number of Koreans who traveled abroad jumped nearly 24% to over 1.9 million. Korea's goods account surplus came to $9.8 billion, down from $12.8 billion last year, as imports rose at a faster pace than exports. The latest data comes after the U.S. published its foreign exchange report in April, which did not list Korea as a currency manipulator. Korea met only 2 out of 3 criteria required to be listed. The country posted $28 billion in goods surplus with the U.S. last year, and its current account surplus accounted for 7% of its GDP.
I believe trade issues with the U.S. can be solved through dialogue and cooperation with the Trump administration. We have begun importing liquefied natural gas as well as other petroleum goods from the U.S. to reduce the trade surplus. Already in the first quarter, Korea has significantly increased its imports from the U.S. It's always been a trade balance issue with the U.S.
The Korean government has vowed to keep reducing its surplus with the U.S. to ensure it avoids being labeled a currency manipulator in the next Treasury report due in October. Kim Min-ji, Arirang News.